Hello and welcome to Some Kind of Podcast. This is a podcast where we entertain you by discussing what entertains us. I am your host this week. My name is Tim. I'm here with my co-hosts Cody
Hello.
and Christian.
Hey,
So, we've been gone for a while. Uh,
It's only been like a month. It's fine.
yeah,
it was like 3 weeks. That wasn't quite a month.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I think the last episode came out about 3 weeks ago. Um, so what happened was I took a vacation, a long one. And then we came back, we did an episode, and then Cody has a full-time job, and then Christian decided to like graduate and then move back across country or something. So I don't know if you guys want to talk about that further, but that's the snap. That's the short end of it.
Yeah, it was just a lot of things happened at one time, I think. Like Christian was in finals and graduating and then moving, and then he went on vacation, and I've just been 9 to 5 every week now, if not longer. Some days are 8 to 5.
Dolly Parton 9 to 5 life. That was right. There's Dolly Parton in the song, right?
Sure. Yeah, I think it was just a combination of a lot of things clashing at one time, and we just needed a break. And people weren't available, so it was also part of it.
But we're back now, and we have lots to talk about.
It was indeed Dolly Parton.
Whoo, did you guys miss us?
I needed to know. I
Um,
needed to know. So during our extended leave, how did you guys grind the old EXP? Did you do anything other than work, Cody, or move, Christian? Did you watch anything or play anything?
Yeah. I mean, I did spend a large chunk of moolah to upgrade my computer setup. So if there's any audio issues,
It's Cody's fault.
maybe anything like audio dipping out or whatever, yeah, it's my fault. I'm still trying to figure out this new setup.
And didn't you you broke something trying to put it together, right?
Yeah, I broke my speakers, so which is how I usually routed my sound. So I've got
Oh, no kidding.
new equipment. Well, in terms of like the way I had it hooked up, if I had my headphones plugged into my speaker setup, it would still record like your audio from the desktop, even though it's coming out of the speakers. But now it's not doing that. So, yeah, if it dips out, that's sorry. I'm sure you didn't miss anything too crazy. But yeah, I'm just working the kinks out of the new equipment. So, apologies in advance.
Try out your cool shiny new toy yet?
Yeah, so I got an Oculus Quest 2.
Ooh, that's the audience noise going ooh.
It it's really awesome. It's my first real experience with VR.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of like those arcade things, like you like put your head in the massive helmet and pilot a mech kind of thing at like Dave and Buster's. So it's kind of mind blowing for me. But I will say as a disclaimer, if you have epilepsy, don't buy one.
Not that Cody does, but
I don't. My sister does, and we were all just like, sure, it's fine. And we let her play Beat Saber because she really wanted to. And she got through one song and was like, this is amazing. And then immediately felt dizzy, like she was going to have a seizure. So just save yourself the trouble and just accept that you shouldn't be playing VR if you have epilepsy.
Did you play Beat Saber, though? Have you tried it out? I've always wondered how it is.
Yeah, I've played it. It's a workout for sure.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Although we are tempted to try something. So I say, don't buy one. But there is a mode that's static images.
Mm-hmm.
or static lights, I think is what it's actually called. So there's no like strobing, flashing lights when you're playing it.
Mm-hmm.
So we might let her try that again.
Give it a little
Uh,
bit, I guess.
yeah,
I
we're
will
gonna
say
give it a little bit.
the game that she started off with on VR, Beat Saber. I mean, like every single from what I've seen footage wise, just online. I mean, there's a lot of flashing lights, like even more so
Yeah,
than
no,
like a
it's a
typical
lot.
game.
But
But we thought she'd be fine because she, at least till now, has not had photosensitive epilepsy. This is the first time anything that she's visibly, like visually looking at has triggered something. So it was really weird. And I mean, I know we've talked about it before. Like some of the reviews on products on Amazon and stuff are hilarious. But we Googled Beat Saber reviews, and like the top 5 all mentioned epilepsy, but it was all like Beat Saber, epilepsy for everyone. And I was like, maybe we should have looked this up before we played, but but yeah, other than that, I've been really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. I still haven't played Final Fantasy VII Intergrade or Ratchet and Clank. They came out
Integrate's
on
not out yet, is it?
this. Yeah, they came out the same day.
But Integrate came out at the end of the month.
Came out Friday.
Oh, well, whoopsie.
So I've started it. Like I turned it on and I played like 5 minutes as Yuffie, and then we ended up going to Cheesecake Factory, and
Ooh.
never haven't played any more of it. So
So, do you know like how long is the extra part of the game that's included now?
I've seen everything from an hour to like 2 hours, which makes sense because it's not like a massive story like
So it's not like a
addition.
DLC overhaul. It's just kind of like a little add-on.
Yeah, it's an intermission, I think is what they're classifying it as. But I think that also depends on how long you take to play the game. Like if you're like me and you're going to explore every corner, it might take you 10 hours to play it. But
No.
that's just how I play games. I
Hmm.
can't not explore all the corners.
Just make sure you turn left.
Yeah.
So it's how you win.
Um,
That's an inside joke between Code and I. No one's gonna get that, but
nobody gets that. So yeah, other than that, campaign 2 of Critical Role ended, so that was really upsetting. But
yeah,
also,
all 7 hours of the last episode.
yeah, it was 7 hours long. That was a doozy.
You could work a shift
Yeah,
and maybe finish that episode.
yeah. No, it was lengthy, but it was really good, really
Are you
emotional.
gonna? I got a question for you. Are you gonna watch Alexandria Unlimited?
Yeah, yeah, I am.
Because I'm going to, because it supposedly has nothing to do with anything.
I hope it doesn't. They did say that familiar characters would pop up.
Well, we'll
So
see what happens because that's why I'm trying to watch it.
why
Interesting trivia
don't
for you guys. Did you know, since you're talking about Critical Role, even though still haven't watched it yet, Matt Mercer actually did the voiceover for Ubisoft's E3 presentation.
Oh no, I
did he
did not know
really?
that.
Oh,
Yep.
that's what's up. I had no idea. I might have to go back and watch it just for that.
That's my only addition to the conversation because
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you got
I
time
mean,
now.
Tim, we can be safe about it, and I can watch it the first episode and then let you know if it's spoilerific, and then you can watch it, after the fact, and then
That's
you can
fair.
watch it
Yeah,
live going forward.
that's fair.
I just don't. I mean, it's up to you. I just don't want to ruin campaign 2.
I don't
for
want to
you.
ruin anything for me either, because like I was telling you the other day, I've already had some very, very minor things ruined for me.
Yeah, and even
And
even the things that you told me that were spoilers really wasn't a spoiler.
good,
So,
good, 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 good,
like,
good.
it was actually kind of wrong anyway. So,
I mean, I figured because
yeah.
I just
But
know
yeah.
how it's. I don't know how it's going to end. Like I'm pretty sure that's not the case. That I don't think, but I don't really know
Yeah.
either. So
No, you're fine.
yeah.
Um,
Um.
But yeah, other
Yeah, you
than
watched
that,
all 7 hours of the finale.
yeah. Um, Other than that, I haven't really had time to myself to watch or play much of anything. I did start Horizon Zero Dawn.
It's a good game.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's gonna get swept under the rug. I really wanted to play it before the second one, but I got Integrate to play. I've got Ratchet and Clank to play. I've got the VR games that I want to play, and I it's just gonna get swept under the rug again.
Mm.
I mean, you've still got time. I don't think the sequel's coming out this year. It's coming out like 22.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, then maybe. But I have been really enjoying what I have played of it.
Well, good.
What about you, Christian? What you?
WQ.
I know obviously you were at the beach for like a year and a half, but I
It's
mean, like,
not at the beach for like a year and a half, and there's a story to that anyway. So anyway, I graduated from college at the end of May, right around the time Biomutant came out. Came out on like the 25th.
oh god,
Super
yeah, we
excited to
could
play the
probably talk
game.
about Biomutant.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that as a group here in a moment.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't played a ton, so here's how my last like few weeks have gone, and this ergo why we said this podcast hasn't really had a regular curated content the past little bit. Biomune came out on the 25th. At that point, I was graduated. The only thing between then and now is me moving across the country and then taking a vacation. And I was like, I'm gonna have plenty of time. Here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna get Biomutant. I'm gonna beat it. I'm gonna platinum it. Before Ratchet and Clank comes out this weekend, and then I'm gonna platinum Ratchet and Clank. So fast forward to today, I think my total hours logged in Biomutant is like 5 hours max. But anyway, so like I played that like a few minutes here and there whenever I had time. Moved like I said, graduated, moved across the country, back to North Carolina. Haven't really watched that much. Managed to actually watch the first episode of Loki that we can talk about here in a moment as well. Watched a couple movies at the beach just with family as kind of like a movie night kind of thing. Other than that, not a whole lot. I have, starting yesterday was like the first day I actually had some free time. Finally loaded up Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and guys, I kind of cried a little bit. I was so freaking happy to play that game.
Right.
I'm now, I think, somewhere between 4 to 5 hours in.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've heard it estimated online that it's like a 10 to 14 hour gameplay. 14, I'm assuming, is if you do that.
So you're about halfway through.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but again, like kind of like Cody was saying, like I mean, with this, like I'm just like exploring everything. Like even if I don't think like I mean, like the game, the big collectibles or the gold bolts.
Is it everything you hoped it would be and more?
Yes. So
Okay.
that was going to be the other thing. I mean, I can talk about this more here in a little bit after we actually go through the roundtable here. But it is everything that like. So I mean, the first Ratchet and Clank game came out like 20 years ago. Back in like I think I had the date pulled up. The first game in 2002. So almost 20 years.
Yeah.
So young me looking ahead in the future, if I was like everything, this is all the stuff I want to be in a future Ratchet and Clank game, and how I want to look it's exactly
Okay.
above and beyond what I wanted it to be.
Very good.
I've heard a lot of people compare it to like the animation quality in Ratchet and Clank games through the years and how it's progressed and how it's updated. Is kind of beat for beat what Pixar has done and kind of the look and stylize of what they've done. And I agree with that fully. Like the Rift Apart, like I know some people disagree with the price tag of Ratchet and Clank being, like $70. And even though I'm an advocate saying that like, I love this game, still don't know if it quite reaches that price tag. However, the animation is so freaking good that I mean like I still think it's worth it. But
Okay.
Tim, I'll
wait to
pass it
play
off to you. No, I hope you guys do get around to playing it at some point. We can dive more into the bits of stuff that I mentioned, but I'll let Tim go and kind of catch everyone up on what he's been doing.
So yeah, I legitimately leveled up because I celebrated a birthday, and
Hey,
so
right.
I'm officially level 33 now.
So did Steven.
So did Steven, Silent Steven or Steven or whatever we're calling him nowadays. Actually, his birthday was 2 days ago at the time of recording.
Yep.
A happy birthday to him too. Both of us being Gemini. I actually did a lot of, well, and I say a lot, I mean a lot for me as far as like entertainment purposes go. Most of it was watching stuff. I did play, I've been playing 14 still. Um, and I think that's it. I think I've just been playing Final Fantasy 14, which, so same,
Mm.
new, different podcast, same story with what I'm trying to play. Still just trying to level up Samurai. But it's he's 70 or she because I play a female character. She's 79 now, so I'm almost done with
Hey,
it.
really good.
Then
I've
huh?
not been playing that game, so
Really? Yeah.
I.
Well, yeah. You said you didn't have time for anything.
Yeah.
So that's really all I've been playing, so to speak. I want to say I tried playing something. Steve and I played. Oh, I forget what it's called. It's that spy game that was free this month on the PlayStation Store. I think I don't know what it was called. You have to play with another person to play it. It was pretty fun. It's like you're trying to complete a mission, but like you can only see what's on your screen, and he can only see what's on his screen. Um, I forget what it's called. I'll look it up here in a second when you guys are talking about something else. Um,
Interesting.
it was pretty fun. It's like the learning curve. Like it starts like kind of like slow. Like okay, cool. You can walk yourself through it, and then it just exponentially just increases in difficulty. Like Steve and I got to like level 4, and we are like, this is hard because you can't see anything, so you can't see their screen. So the only thing you have to do is try to communicate on what they need to do or be looking for. So it's interesting. It was kind of fun, but like I said, the um, difficulty spike is immediate. Like they're like you're like after the first like when you're like this is pretty fun, and after the second one you're like okay this is kind of hard, and then the third level you're like this is really hard, and then I think me and Steve didn't even finish the fourth level because we just started crying.
Is it Operation Tango?
Operation Tango, yes, that's what it is.
Okay, so I looked that up. I saw the infographic for it, and I was like, I've never even heard of this game.
I haven't either. Steven told me about it, and I think Cody and I were on like the three of us are on a chat channel once when he was because he's playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and then he got off to eat dinner, and of course he never came back because that's how things work nowadays. So Steven was like, "You want to try out Operation Tango?" And I was like, "Sure." And like I said, it's fun, but that learning curve is it's sharp. You got to know what you're doing. So that's the only other thing I ever really played. What I have been doing is watching stuff. Um, I think in the time that I've since we last spoke, I watched all of Better Call Saul that was on Netflix. I watched all 4 seasons that were on Netflix. There's a fifth season, but it's not on Netflix yet. And then I watched all of Avatar: The Last Airbender again
Oh, wow.
because I've never watched The Legend of Korra, and I was like, well, if I'm going to watch Legend of Korra, I might as well watch The Last Airbender again.
Of course.
So I watched the whole series again, and I finished I finished the first season of Korra last night.
So I will say that why I haven't because I did the same thing. I watched Avatar: Last Airbender and I also watched Korra before, but we did the whole like well let's rewatch Avatar first and then watch Korra.
Yeah,
That's how I did it.
Even though it's by the same people watching it back to back, I was the whole time I was watching Korra, I was like, I mean, this is good. It's not as good though. But
yeah. Well, my buddy Montana, who lives here in Wilmington, kind of like put it in perspective for me. Um, First of all, it's like comparing like the 1800s to the 1920s. Like it's just a different time setting in between the two shows because like in Korra, there's a lot of technology that is not around in
Yeah.
the Last Airbender. Because Last Airbender is almost taking place in like feudal Japan kind of feeling where it's like it's almost like ancient, like not ancient, but like like early 1920s, like almost America in a sense.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things. Also, Korra is a little bit more political in its setup. So I always,
really,
but it's a little bit more political in its setup versus where like um, the Last Airbender is more like the heroic quest for justice prevails kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where like Korra seems like there's like many different shades of gray that any of these people can be in. So there definitely is a tonal different feel in between the two shows that I already can tell. But my buddy Montana put it in a good perspective. The Last Airbender is about what it takes to be an avatar, whereas Korra is what it means to be an avatar.
That's
So,
fair.
and
Sorry,
it's
dude.
Korra's more mature because she's not 12. She's clearly in like 18 or something like that. Like she's in her teens. So it's a little bit more mature than the Last Airbender is. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna like Korra or not. I've only seen the one season. It was good. I enjoyed it.
I think
I don't know how
season
the
one
rest of
was
it's
really
gonna go.
good.
Yeah.
Season one
So
was really good. I think for me personally, Korra was a steady decline, whereas
oh
Avatar
well.
was an incline.
Oh, I was about to say for me, like Avatar, like just kind of kept getting better and better and better, and then it just finished and it was just blasting into space. Korra, I feel like for me, it was kind of like a roller coaster. Like it just kind of like the first season was like, this
there
is
were some really
awesome, and
good
then second
moments.
season was like, yeah, and then the third season got really good, and then I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I know that they're doing a live action Avatar show for Netflix, so we'll see how that goes. Because
old Ong and the gang are doing.
I
Yeah,
don't think they're going to be doing that with old M Night Shyamalan.
No.
I'm not holding my breath. I hope that it's good, but I'm not holding my breath.
I mean, after the movie butchered everything that you can love about that show, why would you?
Yeah.
So I watched The Last Airbender, and now I'm going to go through Korra because I've never seen it. So,
Yeah.
and on top of that, I I've been still watching Critical Role. I'm a slight snag in it, and I'm only in a snag because it's a snag that I'm doing to myself, where I'm getting to the point where they're starting to do live shows. And I'm like, well, I kind of want to see because like they're probably doing more like physical kind of comedy if they're around like people. So I was like, well, I kind of want to see what's going on in these episodes instead of just listening to them because I've gotten through so many because I'd listen to the podcast when I'm at work doing stuff.
Yeah.
Because if I was just straight up watching them on YouTube, I probably wouldn't be as far as I am right now. Just because I don't have time to just sit down and watch YouTube where I can just listen as I'm doing other things. And I'm still getting the story the same way, and it doesn't really bother me too much. But the live shows, I was like, I kind of want to see them do the live shows. I don't know if that makes sense or not, if it's just me.
No, it does.
I've been slightly hung up on it because trying to find a time to sit down and actually watch the live show.
Yeah.
So, I've been doing that, and then I also, out of the blue, read Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban for some reason.
Hey man, it's a great book.
Oh, I read that.
One of the best in the series. Worst movie ever.
Really think that the third one was the best in the series?
I think it's one of the best. I mean, I love them all, but like, my personal favorite's the last one.
Well, yeah, I mean, the last one obviously is good. I actually like 6 a lot.
6 is really good.
My personal favorite is Goblet of Fire.
Fire is really good too.
I think if I had to put them in order, it would be in terms of like favorite to, I don't know, least favorite. Even though I still love the least favorite,
Yeah,
it would be like 7, 5, 6, 4, 3, 1 or 2, 1, basically.
I think mine's just reverse chronological order. I think it just goes 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Like I really just because like for me the series just gets better as you're reading it.
I really love the Order of the Phoenix.
Order of Phoenix is good too. Or do you mean Prisoner of Azkaban?
No. Order of the Phoenix. I think it was better than. I think it's my second favorite.
What's the longest one?
I just think that 3 was such a good book, and then they butchered that movie.
Yeah, that movie was garbage. I mean, that's probably my least favorite Harry Potter movie, but for sure.
Yeah, hands down. And unfortunately, as a result, Goblet of Fire is my second least enjoyed movie.
Why?
Because of how butchered 3 was, they left a ton of stuff out of 4.
Yeah, that's true.
And I hated it. And I hated their, like, everybody was like a 90s skater boy. They all had long...
3? Or 4? 4, yeah. Everyone, that 4 was the one
had long hair.
For some
for
reason.
no reason. Literally no explanation or reason behind it, and then they went back to short hair. They were like, "Yeah, that was dumb. I'm sorry."
Other than Hermione, Hermione had long hair the whole entire time. But yeah,
Yeah,
Ron and Harry and everyone else in that movie, for whatever reason, was just like, "This is my long hair.
yeah. Look at my
I'm
luscious
a, I'm a,
locks.
I'm
I'm
an
a
edgy,
wizard.
I'm an edgy teenager now."
Yeah, dumb.
Anyway,
Anywho,
Just dumb. So before we go on to your next segment, Tim, I got to hijack for a second
okay.
so we can talk about how bad Biomutant was.
About what?
Biomutant and how bad it is.
Oh, Biomutant. Yeah.
Well, I'm actually really curious to hear Christian's thoughts on
Well,
the
I am too. But before I do this, because I have nothing to input into this, because I heard the reviews were terrible and Cody said it was god awful, so I never picked it up. So I am.
oh, you didn't even buy it?
No, I never bought it
Okay.
because the day it came out, part of me, my like soul or like that gut feeling you got was like, you should wait and hear a review before you buy it. And I was like, okay, brain, soul, gut feeling. I'll listen to you this one time. And I'm kind of glad I did because I talked to Cody about it and he ripped it apart. So that's where my input ends. So you guys can continue.
You first, Christian. I want to know your thoughts.
Okay, so here's the thing. I took a quick peek at Metacritic, and it's ripped apart on there as well. It's in like the 60s. I think it has like 67 or something.
Yeah.
But
It's actually higher than I would have expected.
I don't think
review I read, the line, like the headline was like, Biomutant is boring.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
so. The thing, okay, so I've read quite a few reviews on it during my journey back to North Carolina. I was reading up a little bit on it. And so the one thing that really stood out to me that I read on a review was that Biomutant tries to do too many things and doesn't master one.
Correct.
And I couldn't agree with that more because the game I don't think is bad. I think it's actually really good. It's just that it's like a small team of developers. Apparently, it's only like a team of like 20 or so people that worked on this game. And they tried to do so many different things. And had they chopped off like half of it, perfected like the other half, it would have been a great game. But like there's like a tribe system. There's a like a territory. You have to defeat like the 4 like big bosses and the world eaters. And then there's also like a explaining what happened to the world and why everyone's these weird mutant things and explain the actual backstory on why these tribes actually hate each other and why you're supposed to unite them. And essentially the game, I feel like by the time it actually finishes explaining everything, you're like almost done with the game. And even then, like you're still kind of wrapping your head around like, okay, so wait, how am I crafting my weapons? Like, how am I supposed to be putting skill points where? Like, why are there, because like with the skill points there's like 3 or 4 different categories, and every single time you level up you get another point in each of those categories. Instead of just having one skill tree that you just put stuff where you want to put it, you have like 4 different ones, and every single time you level up you have to be like, okay, so wait, what does this one do? But the mutation is different from the level up. Like,
yeah,
it needs to be simplified. And I feel like if they come out with an overhaul, it would be an amazing game. I still enjoy playing it. At one point, I was thinking about platinuming it before the game came out just because I was so excited for it. But at this point, I'll be surprised if I finish it. But I don't think it's because it's... I know Cody is very much on that, like, this game just sucks, don't play it, it's bad, it's horrible. But, like, I don't think it's bad. I wish it was like a little bit more, because it looks really pretty and the colors are really vibrant and the world's cool. But I know he's shaking his head and he disagrees with that, and that's fine. And I'm not saying the game deserves like, an 80+ Metacritic score. I mean, I guess for what I just said, I guess the game does fall in like the 60 to 70 range, but I guess I'm just trying to cut the developer slack because it's definitely evident that they actually try to do a lot. They just try to do too much. Anyway, I'll pass it to Cody.
Look, as an animator, a professional animator, it's really weird for me to be able to say that, but I am a professional animator. Uh,
Sorry, Cody. Sorry, Cody. I need you to talk up. I can't hear you from your high horse.
I know. I understand how difficult it is to do something like this. I do. I really do. It is very challenging. There's so many things you have to take into account. And so at my job, we recently contracted 3 programmers and coders. And they've never had that at our studio before. And watching them do scripts for us and stuff like that is like, to me, it's like looking at like anytime in the Matrix movies when you see like through Neo's eyes and everything's just like code. Like that's what I'm seeing. Like it's just like I don't get what you're seeing, my dude. Like, and they're sitting there like you know, like, oh yeah, this is a blonde and a brunette and a redhead or whatever. You know, they're just like, yeah, I can see a city here, and I'm just like, cool. You're just looking at text, but all right. So like I get that it is crazy hard to do stuff like this, especially since I've started playing with Unreal, because we're trying to implement Unreal Engine into our workflow at work, and Unreal is very powerful, and
It's unreal.
You could say it is Unreal. I don't know if that's the engine they used for Biomutant.
I think it is. It sounds familiar.
Isn't it the engine that you like everything nowadays is Unreal?
It's most things.
Most things now, yeah. It's definitely. I think its most highlighted game is Kingdom Hearts 3. Because they use like the full power of that engine for that game. But I agree with what Christian is saying. I am definitely harsher on the game than maybe it deserves, but if you're 24 people trying to make a game, you know how difficult it's going to be. Why are you trying to do as much as you're doing?
I feel like it's one of those classic situations where like they came together in like some sort of board meeting and they all had like, well, this is what I want to be in the game, and if this isn't in the game, then I'm out. And then every single person was like that, and they were like, okay, well, I guess we have to put all this in the game, make everybody happy. But then too many different people were trying to do too many different things.
Okay,
and then
but that's what happened to Cyberpunk.
no, I agree. Like, I mean, like it's and what's weird is like I feel like it's more common. And Cyberpunk was a massive team.
Yeah, that was
CD
huge.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly feel like Biomutant, like if they were going to introduce some of these extra like skill point systems and some of the extra tribes and stuff, it almost should have been like. We always complain all the time as gamers about how when a game comes out at launch, you're overpaying for a game that has DLC strung along for the next year. I honestly feel like this should have been stripped down to its core. That should have been the launch game, and the rest of it should have been perfected and released as DLC down the line.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I agree. I hate games that do that, like Destiny and stuff, and Avengers and whatnot. Like it just make a complete game. But like, if they had simplified things, it probably would have been more enjoyable. But the fact that they tried too hard, they'd screwed themselves super hard at the end, and the fact that they turned off the 4K textures for the game on Sony's consoles because they couldn't get it optimized or whatever, is it's a sign that the game wasn't ready, for one. Because playing it, like, every time they showed it off, they were using the PC renders. Yeah. And it was a gorgeous, gorgeous game, which is why I was so excited for it. And it looked like it was going to be this really mature, badass, like, Rocket Raccoon style character doing, like, Kung Fu and Final Fantasy style combat. Mm-hmm. And then I turned the game on, and I have a children's book narrator narrating the whole freaking game to me like I'm 5, and then it's like trying to be mature with the combat, and then it's like this guy's like, very good, Your Muma would be proud. And I'm like,
So
I can't do it.
that guy didn't bother me at all. Like you gave me a forewarning about like, God, this narrator sucks,
It was
and I
awful.
went
I
in
hate him.
like braced for it, and like the first couple hours, I was like, it's not that bad. But there is like a flashback scene where like your
Hmm.
Momo or whatever you call your mom in the game,
Muma.
Moma, okay. And I was just like, I can't do this anymore, and so I went into the settings and turned them off. Um, but yeah, it's I mean, so what you were saying too, though, comparing and contrasting it with Cyberpunk again, similar mistake with them as well, where they released a game that was basically ready for the PC version, and then they also released it on last gen, which just isn't ready for what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
And so instead of pushing the game back another year and then releasing it fully ready on both PC, like and then PS5 and Xbox Series X, they released a game that was PC ready and like halfly ready on PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it was a joke. It's very upsetting to me. Like I truly was excited for the game. I did have that gut feeling that Tim had of like I feel like I should wait. Feel like I should wait and let them fix the game. Like I feel like there's gonna be issues. And I was like, nah, fuck, screw it. You know, I'm gonna do it. And that was a waste of money because I honestly I don't think I'll ever go back to it. Like it
I'd like
left a
to
really
say,
bad taste in my mouth.
yeah, I'd like to say that I will, but like I mean, we talked about before about like our backlogs, like that game now and over the next few weeks because we have games that are going to just keep dropping now from till the end of the year.
Yeah.
That game is going to keep getting pushed down on the list I have saved on my phone of the order of what I'm going to play. And as of right now, I have the motivation to go back and play it, but I don't know realistically if that's ever actually going to happen.
Yeah, I have zero intentions. Like I will say though, like Cyberpunk, if they ever do um, pull their heads out of the rear and launch a PS5 version of the game, I might download it and see if there's been improvements made. But that's a big what if. So I don't know. But
Yeah,
as it stands right now, I was very disappointed in Biomutant.
Well, let's talk about something that people are not disappointed in. Christian, did you want to do a deep dive into Ratchet and Clank?
I would love to.
Yeah, 'cause
uh,
since you almost kind of did one.
yeah, so I mean, going on, just furthering what I was talking about earlier, the game. If you're a fan of the series, or if you've never heard of the series and this is your first time into it, whether you're 5 years old or 35 years old, you're gonna enjoy the game. It's got a great it's got like six different difficulty settings. Essentially, like the one like it goes like you're not gonna die, easy, medium, hard, and like you're gonna hate yourself. So I'm playing on the what I guess we consider regular or medium difficulty, and it's like
Normal.
a decent, yeah, normal. It's a decent challenge. The game, as far as backstory goes, you don't really need to know lore about the Ratchet and Clank universe or what's going on in the background. Like as the game opens up, it's like they're doing a celebration in the streets in the what was considered the old or normal universe of Ratchet and Clank that all the other games took place in, and they're celebrating the fact that they are heroes that have saved us time and time and again. And then of course the infamous Doctor Nefarious shows up and kind of wreaks havoc on the situation. And lo and behold, Clank at the end of this celebration created a interplanet or interdimensional travel device for Ratchet, since Ratchet is the only Lombax in this universe. Lombax is the race that he is. And so he's always kind of talked off and on throughout the other games about it'd be kind of nice to kind of find, where I come from and my race and my people. And so Clank actually built this for him to travel to try to find his people. And so before he gets a chance to do that, Dr. Nefarious essentially steals it. And he's like, haha, I'm going to teleport us somewhere where I actually win, because it's a joke because you beat him in all the other games. And so it kind of breaks up your universe, and there's all these rifts and tears like in space, um, that open up as a result, and you get teleported to this other universe or dimension, whatever you want to call it, where this other Lombax female exists named Rivet. And it's hinted at where I'm at that it's essentially Ratchet's counterpart. Like, this universe is essentially parallel to the one you came from. All the characters are actually still in this universe. They're just a very different version of what you're used to. So
Yeah.
there's like side characters. The one that comes to mind is this guy named Skid McMarks, which is like a famous hoverboard racer from the old universe. And then the new one, he's like this like spy that like does like all this espionage stuff. And like you meet him and you're like, "Are you Skid?" He's like, "Yeah, here's a cool gadget." And he's like, "How are you even doing any of this?" So it's very different in that regard. And so I guess like this universe's version of Ratchet essentially is Rivet. I haven't finished the game. I'm as of right now about 4 or 5 hours in. I don't know if they're going to give more of an explanation to it. I also don't know at this point going forward if they're going to be Rivet and Ratchet are both going to be in the same game going forward. Obviously, I haven't finished the game. I hope so, because it's really cool switching back and forth between them. Ratchet's signature move to like open up doors and open up mechanisms is he puts his little wrench on a giant bolt, and you turn in circles and it'll like open a door, it'll open up a puzzle thing or whatever. And Rivet's like an equivalent of that is essentially a giant hammer, which he swings down on top of these buttons. And then there's a bunch of side games in games past. Clank would come off your back of Ratchet, and you climb into like this little tunnel, and then he go do this little like puzzle game. Those are still there. It's just updated and a little bit more in depth. And then there's these things called pocket dimensions that open up. So as you're going through these different planets and exploring, there'll just be like this tear in like the sky where you can jump through, and there'll be this little, they call them pocket dimensions in the game. And essentially you work your way through this little puzzle system, and at the end there'll be like a piece of gear, which is also something new. Something that is new to the series. In games past, it was essentially you have your wrench and you have your pre-designed outfit, and the only thing that you can like get or somewhat customize is guns from like the shop vendor.
Yeah.
And in this game, you can actually pick up all sorts of gear sets. They break it up by helmet, essentially body, and then boots. And so like I got the deluxe version, which came with like 3 or 4 different outfits from the start. And then they've got a plethora of them throughout the game that you discover in those pocket dimensions. I actually just...
Sorry, is that like Immortals Phoenix Rising, where you have those little like tears that you go into and like
kind of, yeah,
and get like a upgrade piece or whatever?
Yeah, in a way.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then so like each of the equipment that you pick up, it's kind of nice because it doesn't make you equip it to get the perks that come with it. So each set of equipment, like head, body and boots, in each of the outfits comes with like a 5% like bonus damage or reduced damage or boost to your health or whatever. But instead of saying like, oh, well, you actually have to wear this to get that boost, as soon as you collect it and it goes your inventory, it's just permanent whether you have it on or not. So that's nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I actually like really love like the design of the characters, and it's really cool to see Ratchet and Rivet in such like high resolution, and like you actually see like the fur bouncing around as they move through the air. And I'm like, I don't actually want to put like this, like I like all the armor sets are really cool, but I don't want to cover them up because I'm enjoying looking at all the like pretty art.
So they're just cosmetic then.
Yeah, no, it's not like required. Like you don't have to like put them on to like go through like a hazardous environment or anything like that. It's just strictly like, yeah, if you want to put them on, you can. If you don't want to put any of them on, you don't have to.
I appreciate that in the game.
For 100%ers or achievement or trophy hunters, you will have to collect them all as well as the gold bolts. And there's some raritanium, which is from a past game. It's just like one of the rare materials that you use to upgrade stuff. Mostly your guns.
Unobtainium.
And then there's like a teddy bear collectible thing that you can find, and I just found my first one, so I don't really know the backstory on that. And then there's one other collectible, but I'm really excited to play the rest of it. As I mentioned earlier, this game is like on par with like modern day Disney and Pixar animated films, so like it's really, really pretty to watch. And whenever like a cinematic happens, I just kind of like lean back in my chair and I'm just like enjoying watching it. And then when it snaps to and it's like, hey, you're supposed to play now, I'm like, oh crap, I forgot I wasn't like just watching an animated film. So I'm really enjoying playing it. I would highly recommend picking it up. I know the one thing that people have complained about, as I already mentioned, was the price tag on it being $70, which is a little ridiculous. But at the same time, like I still think it warrants it, despite its short gameplay. But
Oh, I mean, if they ever did a Jack and Daxter and gave it the same treatment, I would, yeah, it wouldn't matter.
so I know one of the fan theories is that like during in one of these pocket dimensions that open up off to the side is that they were gonna like sprinkle in like a hint at like Sly Cooper or Jack and Daxter and like all the like mascots of PlayStation, and then like
Yeah.
the end result from this game was they were just gonna have like a collaborative, just like all of them in one game, which would be super cool. I haven't seen anything like that yet, but I would be down to see it happen, even if it was like a post credits thing or something. But
Yeah, I mean that'd be neat. That's a lot for licensing, but that'd be really neat.
yeah, but I mean, all those characters are technically at least partially owned by PlayStation. I mean, since they're all
Yeah, but
first party games.
I think I think they're still owned by the studios. Like the studio has like the final say.
Yeah.
I think, um, in terms of like them being in another game. I think for marketing materials, I don't think it matters. But
Mm-hmm. I
that would
know
be that'd be amazing.
I can't remember the exact scores we all gave as our guesstimates for Metacritic, and it's not. I mean, it's only been out for 2 days, so this isn't accurate anyway. But it's currently sitting at an 89. I honestly like. I know you guys pressured me. I think I actually boosted mine to like 95 or something like that. I think
Yeah,
that's still
I know
what
you
I would
did.
give it. Did I?
I think me and Tim are
I'm
right
looking it
around
up.
like an 89,
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay.
and I think
No, we
you're
were
like
all in the 90s.
okay.
Yeah, we were all in the 90s. I mean, it's only 2 days out, but we were
Yeah.
all in the 90s.
I honestly would still give it a 95, if not higher. Like I said, I don't think there's a single thing about this game that I would change, other than the fact that around the whatever it is, 14 to 16 hour mark or less, I'm probably gonna cry when it's done because I'm gonna be like, no, I waited how long for this game? I'm gonna have to wait how long more? Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, I just want more of
Wow.
it. So
Speaking of Metacritic, that's a great Subway.
eat fresh.
Eat fresh, man.
All right. Well, that's a great Subway for a segue. Um, we did miss one Metacritic during our hiatus. Quiet Place 2, which I haven't seen because I haven't seen the first
Phenomenal
one.
movie.
So I think you two have seen it though.
Yeah.
Yep.
It came out over Memorial Day weekend.
Yep.
So I'm not gonna go the whole spiel on like what the Metacritic thing is. You should, if you listen to us enough now, you know what it is. And I switched over to the gaming thing because you asked about Ratchet and Clank. So Christian guessed 84, Cody guessed 83, and I guessed 80. The actual Metacritic score is a 71. So by that metric, I get
get
1 point, and Christian and Cody get nothing. And I don't
Goose
know where that puts us at, but I'm pretty sure Christian's still fairly in the lead, and Cody's still
Yeah.
second. So nothing really changed. I just don't know what our points are. But I got one because I'm within 10, and Cody and Christian busted because they're over. So they
Yeah.
get a big old nothing.
It's a shame
So-
too because I really love the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just looking up the first one on Metacritic just because I was curious as the difference, and it's at 82. And I mean, like,
Which
so
is, I
that
think what I base my guess on.
I think so.
because that kind of surprises me then, because after seeing the second one, I will still say the first one was better and I liked
yeah.
more, but it wasn't. I still put it in the ballpark. Like if the first
Oh,
one
yeah,
got an
for sure.
82, I would maybe say this one should get like a 78, 9.
After
Yeah.
watching it, yeah, I would have given it a like an 80
Yeah.
after actually having seen it. But yeah, no, the first one's definitely better, but that doesn't take anything away from this. I mean, that's like saying, like, oh, this Harry Potter movie is better than this Harry Potter movie. Like I loved all seven, but whatever,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
Well, book wise, books, not movies. I should have been more clear. I did not love all the movies. Um, but yeah, it was really good. So it's a little disappointing that it only got 71.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually surprised myself. Um, but yeah, so speaking of that, we were just talking about Ratchet and Clank. Even though Christian kind of said what the score was now, we're not officially calling it until next week. So we do have Ratchet and Clank as well as um, Fast Nine coming out soon. So those are coming on down the
Isn't that in
pipeline.
July?
No, Fast Nine's at the end of the month. It's
Okay.
June 25th.
Cool, 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 cool,
So
cool.
go ahead and get your tickets at your movie theater and go watch it.
Speaking of other things coming up, that Dungeons and Dragons game is coming out like next week, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, but I was talking about the Metacritic list. But yes, if you're talking about things that are just coming out, the Dungeons and Dragons things comes out on the 22nd. I am really excited about that. If you haven't seen anything about it, go watch something on it. Speaking of Dungeons and Dragons, it was just announced this week. If you're a fan of Borderlands and Tiny Tina and the DLC that came out for Borderlands 2, Tiny Tina's Attack on Dungeon Keep, I think it was called.
It's
Something
Tiny
like that.
Tina's Wonderland.
Well, no, not the new
No,
game.
the original.
Oh, my bad. Yep. It's Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. I'm pretty
Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
since Christian spoiled it for me, there is a new
Sorry.
game coming out called Tiny Tina's Wonderland, which is essentially a whole game that's sort of based around the concept of that DLC, which I am super, super stoked for.
So did they confirm that it's a whole game and not a DLC for 3?
It is a game.
Okay.
They did, in
okay.
fact, it's a spin-off with that as like the general basis for how the game is like actually geared and how it's going to be set up like. And you can actually
cool.
customize your own and build your own character just like you can like with D&D. Except
good.
for it's going to look and be stylized like Borderlands.
Yeah.
Which is really funny because I legit, when I saw that Gearbox was going to have a segment at E3, I was like, they're just going to say there's going to be more Borderlands DLC. And I was like, I mean, in all honesty, even if they announced a Borderlands 4, I think at this point I'd be like,
Eh,
3 was like,
Yeah.
okay, I think I'm done with Borderlands. And then they announced that, and I was like, okay,
yeah.
you might have
Yeah.
reeled me back in.
No, that
They
would-
reel me back in. As soon as I think I'm out, they just reel me back in.
Because I don't think I don't know that I would play Borderlands 4.
Borderlands
I-
3 was okay, but
I honestly expected them to show off the movie a little. You know,
Yeah, I
show
think,
us what the characters actually look like as opposed to just silhouettes and nothing.
Randy Pitchford or whatever he is, his position at Gearbox.
CEO?
Is he? Yeah.
Mm.
When he did his Zoom in or whatever for the conference, he was on site wherever they're filming. Why
Yeah.
he was actually on site, I don't know unless he's in the film. But
I'm sure he's
he's
got a
the
cameo.
CEO, so he can just be there if he wants to be there.
I mean, it's true. But yeah, no, I'm excited for that going forward. And since you brought up announcements, I wrote down a few.
Go for it.
Just
Let's get some E3 stuff out of the way.
Yeah, this weekend we're currently recording is E3, so we do have a bunch of announced things that I forgot E3 was even this weekend. If I'm being real
Yeah, to
honest,
be real, like it's since Sony backed out again. I put E3 out of my head.
Mm-hmm.
so other than so PlayStation backed out, Nintendo. I mean, Nintendo really hasn't been an actual part of E3.
They're
in quite
doing
some
a
time.
direct though, according to the schedule you sent.
Yeah, they do like a yearly Nintendo Direct that they strategically just place to come out during E3. And so that'll come out on Tuesday morning. And I wouldn't be surprised if PlayStation within a week releases some sort of state of play.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there'll be a big state of play.
But Xbox's was today. There was a few yesterday. Of course, Bethesda being bought out by Xbox. There was a big joining of the two. They used
They
to be
announced
separate
Elder Scrolls 6
conferences.
yet?
They said it's in the works. They said it is being made, but they did not announce they didn't give any sort of official trailer for it or anything.
They did, like,
E3s
2
they said
years
the same
ago.
thing. Yeah, they did the
Yeah,
same
like
thing.
they gave a helicopter shot of a world, and it was just at Elder Scrolls 6.
No, I don't remember
That
that.
was it.
Well, maybe it'll be like they're waiting to do the similar thing they did with Fallout 4, where they're like, well, you know what's ready to come out? Fallout 4. You know when it's coming out in like 2 months.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
So maybe they'll do that. But
I
anyway,
think they're
they
just going to
are
keep it close to the vest
yeah.
until it's ready.
That's fine.
Speaking of Bethesda, though, I mean they have a bunch of stuff in the works now. Redfall is like their up new IP. Sorry, that was the expression I was looking for. That they've created. That's going to be an Xbox exclusive. It's like a I wrote down zombie. It's not zombie. It's a vampire slayer co-op game for Xbox.
Use a
Oh, I
sparkle.
saw that. Isn't it like a multiplayer thing though?
I think it's kind of like
It was like be the best vampire or something like that.
uh
Unless I'm
no,
thinking of a
it's
different game.
I mean, you might partially be thinking of it though, because essentially you team up in a group of four and you're going out as like, and you have like these guns that shoot wooden stakes, and you have like a giant
Yeah.
sword or like a spear, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it's online co-op, just like the upcoming Back for Blood is with
Okay.
zombies. It's essentially the same game, other than the way like it's a different animation style, and then instead of hunting zombies, you're hunting vampires.
Yeah.
In my mind, anyway, that's how I compare them. So that
Yeah.
was one of Bethesda's, big unveilings as their new IP. They said again that they are working on Elder Scrolls 6, and part of Microsoft Showcase, they announced Forza Horizon 5. Don't really care about that. They announced that stupid Xbox mini fridge that like so many people wanted to come out, that's shaped and looks like an actual Xbox Series X, that it's actually being made and you can pre-order them
A
again.
fridge.
Like a mini fridge, yeah, like you can actually put drinks in it and
So you can put
set it
I
up.
can place put my Mountain Dew
Yeah, there you go.
as I'm playing COD.
Yeah, there
I'm
you
gonna
go.
play the new Battlefield. I'll tell you that right now.
And that's where I was gonna go next. I don't think Call of Duty franchise is actually having a new update this year with a new installment, but Battlefield 2042 is coming out this year.
And it
I
looks
couldn't
super
tell.
dope.
It does, and like I'm willing to give it a go. Like I have like several past Battlefield games, only to be like, oh, I don't like this. But is it a battle royale?
No. They made some kind of statement on Twitter or something that there is no battle royale in the game. Now, whether or not
Okay.
that's a misdirect or what, but all the modes are the massive, like 120 or 200 plus players. But it's not a battle royale. It's team
It's
based.
just really big maps, like in large
Yeah.
teams versus large team
Yeah.
kind of thing. Okay. I mean, and I think I could, handle that because I kind of got burnt out on Battle Royale with Warzone over the past couple years. So,
Yeah.
other thing from Microsoft Showcase, Age of Empires, which is one of my favorite games. I can't remember if it was one or two that I played as a kid. Is coming out. It's coming out to PC for sure. I don't know if it's coming to console. I think it's coming to Xbox. Let's see, Flight Simulator is finally coming out for the Xbox. Hades is coming out for all consoles, so like that'll be on PlayStation 5, and I think it's like August or something.
Cool.
But anyway, that's all the stuff I don't actually really care about. And then when Ubisoft had
Told
their
you all of that to tell you this.
when Ubisoft had their announcement, or like a little 40-minute sequence of trailers that was segued and introduced by Matt Mercer, they talked about, well, the tail end of it was Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, which looked really cool and was really funny. Have you guys watched the trailer yet for it?
Watch
Yeah,
part of it.
it's a Souls game.
Is it?
I thought too. I thought it
Yeah.
looked like a Souls game.
It's a Souls game.
So is it like do you mean in like terms of difficulty, or like as in
No,
how
like
it's
in
actually
terms of how it plays, it's a Souls game.
interesting?
It's a Final
Huh.
Fantasy Souls game. That's what it. So, there were a lot of people speculating that was what was going to happen because the team that Ninja that is making it hadn't announced anything, and they were like, "So, are you doing another Neo, or are you gonna do Ninja Gaiden? Like, why haven't you talked about anything?" And they were like, I wonder if they're gonna do a Souls game for Final Fantasy.
Well,
And that's what this is.
interesting. So do you guys think you'll play it, or do you think because of that it'll?
I will. I mean, I love the
No,
Souls
Check
games.
it out. I'll let Cody try it out first before I give it.
You'll let Cody be your guinea pig?
He offered
No, I don't mind at all, especially with like Souls type games.
because I don't. I play video games to relax, which nowadays almost sounds like an oxymoron. Uh, Especially if you're playing with people. But
Yeah.
I don't need to make myself upset while playing video games. I don't want to break my controllers.
No, I feel you. And I mean, like Returnal, I still haven't finished Returnal. I do plan to. But like the difficulty has definitely ramped in it, like a good old fashioned Souls game. So yeah, I'll play it.
So some other interesting things that announced and showcased at Ubisoft's presentation was the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which is, as Tim asked earlier, it is not the same team that did still by Square Enix. At least this one is fully by Square Enix, whereas the Avengers was like Crystal Dynamics, I think, was the forefront, and Square Enix was like a publisher.
Dynamics. Yeah.
But anyway, so it's not the same team doing it, and it's also not multiplayer. It's actually a single player game. You play as Star-Lord, and then you can actually bring people in, like you bring up essentially like what looks like a weapon wheel, and then you can bring, instead of using guns, you actually call in your teammates to do like different moves. What I thought was really cool was they showcased this thing where like Star-Lord, you can press like, I guess, like an ultimate ability button, and then he holds up his cassette player and presses play, and then it turns on some sort of 80s classic song, and it boosts everybody's attack for like a certain amount of time, and it's essentially like your finisher. And I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah,
I will say the one thing I saw it getting attacked for was that I guess people wanted that if they were going to do that and do like a single player experience, that people wanted the ability to choose which character to play as.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm not going to lie, if I could have played an entire Guardians of the Galaxy game as Rocket Raccoon, I would have been super stoked.
Yeah.
But, I mean, since they're letting you play as Star-Lord, at least the leader of the team, it does make sense. And so, like, as long as they get the story right, which sounds like there's a lot of thought behind it, I'm on board. I'm excited. So.
Yeah, I'm going to I'm going to let you play it first. You know?
Okay, I'll be the guinea pig for that one.
Yeah.
And then there was like they touched base with Back for Blood and a couple other games that already were coming out, and they were just kind of showing where they are in the production cycle that are releasing this fall. But that was kind of it as far as like big new unveilings or announcements, at least up to when we first started this podcast. E3 still going. It's actually going through Tuesday, so more announcements to come, I'm sure.
Yeah. Before we move on to the last and most important topic of our podcast, do you think Nintendo will announce a Switch Pro tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I personally thought that they were going to do it last week because it would have made more sense. Like everyone in the industry, including Bloomberg, thought that it was going to get announced 2 weeks before E3 to give them time to be like, hey, look at all these fancy new games running in 4K at E3, as opposed to showing it off and then doing that.
So I think that the unveiling of the Switch Pro is going to be the very first thing. As soon as that Nintendo Direct pops on, it's going to be right there at the beginning, and then the whole rest of it's going to be like, look at all these pretty games and how they're enhanced on the new system.
Yep.
I also think that they're going to bundle it with something, sort of game.
It'll be
like
Breath of the Wild.
Point. Yeah.
Yeah, with Breath of the Wild 2, I could see it.
Yeah.
Because that's probably how I'll buy it. I'll be real honest.
We haven't seen anything for Breath of the Wild. They just told us that they're working on it. So I think that's more likely what's going to happen is they're going to show that off and then show Breath of the Wild 2 in 4K. And then talk about stuff. Now, my hope is that they don't make games specifically for the console. That's
I
my
don't
fear.
think they will, and if they do, I think it'll be like that whole situation with the 3DS, new 3DS thing, where it's like there might be one or two games that's like it's required to play on the new console, but by and large, the grand scape of like
Yeah.
first party games, I don't think most will. Um,
I hope not. I really
do
do.
you guys, if they announce it and it's at like a non-redonkulous price
Don't
and
care.
says
I'm
it's
getting it.
coming October, you guys are both getting it?
Don't care. I'm getting it.
So my thing is that since the new Pokemon open world game Arceus is coming out in like January, I'm gonna make myself wait until January. For
I
those of you who can't see, which is everyone, they're both shaking their head and like, nope, I'm not waiting. I'm getting it day one.
I'm going to trade in my old Switch and my PlayStation 4, get whatever discount I can get, and then buy the Pro. With
Yeah.
if it's bundled with Breath of the Wild, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
I'm just gonna
Yeah.
buy it. Because I'm gonna jailbreak the mess out of my custom, already altered Switch. So
I'm hoping my logic on it was that I'm hoping that that'll be enough time, enough couple months will have passed by from when it was released in, I don't know, October, November, whenever they'll release it this fall, that when Pokemon comes out, that they'll bundle it with it and it'll be a limited edition console and it'll be like, some sort of cool, design on the back of the Switch. They'll come
Yeah,
out with some sort of like a Switch Pro controller like they did with Monster Hunter and it'll have that on it.
sure.
And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm just going to plan on blowing a lot of money at the beginning of 22.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, with Nintendo consoles, like unless it's at launch, I don't care about the exclusive like pretty consoles. Um, Now, if Sony announces a PS5 Pro in a couple years, and um, if it's like worth it, I would consider getting it day one. But more than likely, I'll wait until there's a God of War edition or something.
Yeah.
But with
See, and I
Nintendo,
think that's kind of the boat I'm in because I've had a Switch for long enough now and I didn't get, a limited edition one when it came out. That, I'd be like, I'm okay with waiting until and I mean, if I hits, January, February when Pokemon launches and nothing comes out with it, I'll be like, well, I'll still pick it up. It just won't be a limited edition one.
that's fair.
But yeah. Also, when it comes to Switch, like I said, like I mean, we're all gonna get it, but I think the only game other than Animal Crossing towards the beginning of COVID last year that makes me actually pick it up is Pokemon. And so like so me personally, with all the
I mean, I
games
was
coming out this fall for the PlayStation 5, like I don't think I'll even pick it up.
yeah. I mean, I was late to the game, but I played Breath of the Wild kind of like as quarantine was happening.
I got it for
But I
Breath
was
of the
late to
Wild.
the game.
I got it for Breath of the Wild and the Pokemon game that has finally been announced. So,
Well, we'll see what happens with
we'll
the
see.
announcement.
Yep.
All right.
So going on to like I guess this is now the final topic of the show. I was trying to put it somewhere in the middle, but we just kept kind of going on and on and on and on.
And on and on. Sorry.
And on and on. So of course, we talk about Marvel things here, and something Marvel came out this past week. So I guess we're going to low key talk about it. That's right. I made the joke. So yeah, the Loki show came out. What did you guys think of it?
I loved it. Absolutely
Yeah,
loved
same.
it.
I don't know what I expected it to be, or even if I actually had expectations for it, but it
Yeah,
exceeded
I
my
didn't.
expectations.
It was interesting, to say the least. I really didn't know what to expect either. This is good though. It's good.
It's definitely, even just one episode in, it's my favorite of the shows that have come out so far.
I will say,
Yeah.
as soon as they started bringing up the whole like, well, you violated, our time authority system, and you did an unsanctioned travel through time, and so we arrested you. I was like, okay, but Endgame happened, and that was literally the entire movie, and
Yeah.
that was just replaying in the back of my head. And then I think it was like 10 minutes later, they were like, Well, the Avengers did it,
Happen. Yeah.
Yeah, and
and
they
they
were
were like,
like, that
"Oh,
was
well,
supposed
yeah,
to happen.
they did do it, but that was supposed to happen." And I was like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, I feel better now."
No, I'm really excited. So after watching the first episode, I'm really excited for what it means going forward. Um,
I mean, it's
because
obviously a direct tie into Doctor Strange.
yeah, like obviously it's going to tie into Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, but I think it's also going to tie directly into Spider-Man.
No,
Um,
yeah.
because I don't know if y'all have been keeping up with all the leaks and rumors and confirmations of stuff that are going on with that movie. Obviously, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are still just rumored to be in the movie. I think it is. It's definitely confirmed that what is it? Alfred Mendina, is that his name?
It's confirmed with Doc Ock, isn't it?
Doc Ock is definitely in it. William Defoe is supposedly 100% in it, and so is Jamie Lee Fox.
So essentially, they're just bringing in all the villains.
So they're doing a Sinister Six.
Oh,
And so the latest rumors on that are that with Loki and the Multiverse of Madness creating all these multiverse timelines and everything, and obviously, not to get too far away from Loki, but with whatever happens in Loki, I think is going to spark the whole multiverse thing.
I saw some articles saying that the replacement for essentially the Infinity Saga and the Infinity War is going to be like a multiverse war, where it's going to be like that's going to be the multiverse thing is going to be the next saga.
Right.
They've been leaning into that since
sense.
Far From Home, which is this is the first movie after Endgame, and
Yeah.
we'll see like what comes up because Black Widow comes out on the 9th of July.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that brings. And here's my one problem with the multiverse thing, and I knew it was going to happen, and I'm assuming it's still going to happen. The multiverse is going to be cool because you're going to see a lot of like crossovers, like you will in Spider-Man and things you don't really see. But it also opens the door to bring back all the people that they killed off in Endgame in Infinity War.
Yeah. Because so I was gonna say another thing that people were getting upset about with the whole like William Defoe, Green Goblin being in this movie, but they sort of explained it in the way that it's an alternate timeline to the Raimi universe and to Andrew Garfield's universe, the Sony universe or whatever. So essentially, if Toby's in it, right? That this version of Green Goblin and this version of Tobey Maguire, the first two movies happened, the third one didn't.
Good.
Essentially, they're just erasing that third movie.
Yeah.
And that's why they're saying that if you've watched the trailers for the new Venom movie, there's a point where a guy's reading the Daily Bugle, and it is the exact same paper out of Sam Raimi's universe. Like it's the same letterhead, logos, everything. It's the exact same paper. And so they said that this version of Venom is the actual version of Venom for the Toby that
Maguire
we'll see. Yeah. And that while 1, 2, and 3 happened for all intents and purposes for this multiverse, it's 1, 2, and 3 didn't happen. And that the new Venom is the actual Venom in that universe.
Gotcha.
Which is why, like, in the Morbius trailer, there was like a painting of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man with murderer painted over it. So I think they're going to get really into it. And I think Loki is going to be the one to spark it, since, like, before we get into it, spoilers ahead. When they, at the end, when they were like, we're hunting you.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's a comic series where there's a female Loki from another universe or whatever. And I know people have been begging for them to do it. So if they're going to do it, this is it.
Yeah, because you don't see that Loki at the end, right?
You just see a hooded
Silhouette, I think.
person.
Yeah.
No.
It's a hooded, cloaked person, and
Yeah.
you never get any facial features or anything. And I feel like they're gonna keep playing it off, and then there's gonna be a big reveal, and I could see it being female Loki, since they're doing Natalie Portman as like female Thor.
Thoris or whatever it's
Yeah.
supposed to be.
So like I can 100% see them doing it, and I'm not mad at it either. I'd be all for it if they do it right. I know that they keep teasing all the comic book fans though, with the Red Devil imagery, because everyone wants Mephisto to be in it. Like that's who everyone thought was controlling like Wanda.
Yeah.
And they kept doing little like hints to it, but then it wasn't. And then in the beginning of Loki, he's talking to that little girl, and he's like, "So like, who did it?" And she points to the Red Devil, and everyone was like, "Oh, Mephisto!" And then they were like, "No, it's just Loki."
Yeah.
So
I mean, they kind of gave that away in the trailer, though, that it was supposed to be Loki hunting himself.
I didn't get that from the trailer.
Oh, I thought that was news. Like I was like, oh, it's Loki hunting
Yeah, I
Loki.
didn't get that. What I thought was going to happen was he was going to join them and then escape, and then just spend the show escaping from them, creating timelines. That's what I thought
Yeah.
was going to happen.
So during the show, I wasn't certain about like the advertisements or whatever beforehand, but whenever he, teleports throughout the like, whatever it is, prison system or whatever he's in, and then goes and grabs like the Infinity Stone out of the drawer full of Infinity Stones and just starts
Oh, dude.
popping
Dude,
around.
like, we use these for paperweights. I was like, oh.
I got goosebumps when they panned the camera around and there was just a bunch of Infinity Stones. I was like, oh, and not just any Infinity Stones either, like the Time Stones.
Yeah.
I was like, oh gosh. And it was just
Uh,
like, yeah, some people use them for paperweights.
But when he grabbed the Tesseract and then like he zipped away, I thought that was going to be like segue into him, kind of like what you were saying. He was just going to be bouncing around,
Yeah.
and they spent the rest of the show trying to catch him again. I think I like where they going better though, honestly.
I do too.
You know,
Where he agrees to help them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's going to legitimately
Now.
agree to help them. No, I think he will legitimately agree to help. I think seeing his mother die and it being his fault, and then like
Then seeing his
seeing
own
him-
death.
seeing his own death, like I think it like, because this Loki is the Loki that invaded New York. Like this
Yeah,
isn't
it's
like
fresh off of New York.
yeah, like this isn't like I've bonded with my brother Loki.
No, it's
This
angry
is,
Loki.
this is angry pre like
Everything Loki.
redeemed
Ragnarok,
Loki.
all that
Yeah.
stuff.
So I think him seeing his mother die and it being his fault, and then getting a glimpse of like, oh, maybe we did reconcile, and then seeing his death, like I think he'll probably try to escape at least once.
I think
But,
it'll
like-
be like towards the end. Like
Yeah.
I think he might help them catch the other version of Loki, and then he might try to find some loophole. Because when he got freaked out when he realized, or when they were telling him that, like, we make sure everything that's supposed to happen happens, and you're supposed to die. And so as soon as that set in, he was like, okay, yeah, I guess like I'll help you, because
Either that or it's going to be a tragic ending where he then has to go and die again.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true. Yeah.
Because they could easily just be like, and we're going to drop you right back in, and you're going to know the whole time. But
Yeah.
which in retrospect would retcon Loki to be even more of a tragic character if he knew
Yeah.
the whole time how and when he was going to die.
I'm gonna be real. I would honestly like that if like
Yeah.
they did something where like they showed like somehow with them bouncing around time, the actual Loki got like misplaced, and he had to be dropped in to replace him,
Hmm.
and then that would make it so much more sad.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. No.
But in fact, as we're saying that, that's the ending I kind of want.
Oh, dude, I want it now. Like, I really want to know. No, I think that this is going to be a really, really good show. Like, it was definitely humbling for him to see all the Infinity Stones and then to just be like, is this the ultimate power? Because
Yeah.
clearly it is.
Yeah. Man, because he wanted that Infinity Stone so bad, and he was like, they're just all here, multiple versions of them.
Yeah.
And that just defeat of like there's nothing I can do. You guys are just you have more power than me.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of surprised that the whole timekeeper thing didn't pop up in like Doctor Strange movie or with him at all, since he had the time stone and he was, the
They're just gonna
timekeeper.
play it off like that's what was always supposed to have happened.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
my thing is, or at least my understanding is that unless they want you to know, you don't know.
No.
Like, I don't think even the Sorceress Supreme knew. I don't think Doctor Strange knows.
Doctor Strange is a Sorcerer Supreme.
Well, now, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
from the first movie,
The
I don't
former one.
think, yeah,
No.
the former
Oh, yeah.
Sorcerer Supreme knew. And I feel like to a degree, the time cops or whatever we want to call them,
The TVA.
the TVA. Thank you. I'm sure, obviously, they knew about the Time Stone, right? They know about Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
At least whoever's in charge knows about them, because like obviously people there don't know. Like like he was yelling like what is this thing? And Loki's like, it's the Tesseract. And then what's her face was just like, that sounds stupid. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't think they all know, but clearly I'm sure the Watchers or whatever, like I'm sure they know, and let that happen. Like they let them toy around with things. Like as long as they didn't create like another timeline,
Yeah. Like variants or whatever.
yeah, like then it was fine. As long as they were responsible, because they were just protecting the stone. And like whatever Strange did in the first movie, like he fixed it or whatever. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's
There were
gonna
only one
get
episode.
really timey wimey,
Yeah. It's very. That's
very
why I
wibbly
like,
wobbly.
it reminds me a lot of Doctor Who.
I will say though that like with most shows, talking about them like on a week to week episodes as they come out, you can kind of read between the lines and kind of see where it's going. I will say with this, since they're messing around with time, they could do like anything.
Anything they want.
Well, that with that and with the multiverse, like the possibilities are endless. They could legitimately
Yeah.
pull whatever they want to pull from.
Yeah.
It can make sense.
So,
Nope,
but since
I
Marvel and Disney have done such a good job up till now with the MCU, like I kind of trust them. I hope they don't blow it, but
They have a good track
I have
record.
no fear. Yeah. They started to let me down with WandaVision a little bit here and there, but I think they redeemed themselves with Falcon Winter Soldier, and they're doing everything right with Loki so far.
Loki feels like it's officially like the kickoff to Phase 4 almost.
Yeah.
mhm.
Like it's like, okay, we're gonna actually start building the next
Is it
phase.
4 or 5? I feel like we've already been in 4.
It's 4,
Is it
right?
4?
I think
Yeah,
it's 4.
it's
Yeah.
Avengers 3. Phase 1 built to first Avengers. Phase 2 built to Ultron, and
Okay.
Phase 3
Yep.
built to Endgame.
Yeah, I
Yep.
guess it's because Infinity War and Endgame were so far apart, like it just
Seems weird.
threw me off.
No, it's Phase 4.
Okay. Cool.
So we're
Yeah.
officially like starting Phase 4 now.
And yeah, outside of Black Widow, I think Spider-Man's up next.
Yeah, it goes Black Widow, then Spider-Man in December.
Yeah, and so before.
Oh,
we end-
whoa! You forgot about Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi
Oh yeah,
comes
Shang-Chi.
out
That's right.
in
That's right.
September.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna
Shang-Chi is
tie in.
be. I think that's gonna be the official like. Here's what's happening from here on out in the Phase 4.
Maybe.
But of course,
Could be.
I say that though. But Shang-Chi being a new character, they might honestly just spend the whole movie
Just setting him up.
explaining what's
Just
going on with
explaining,
him,
yeah.
and
They
then
could
at
have
the
a
very end, they
post-credit
might
scene.
have like a
Yeah.
teaser or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be a in credit scene crossover moment. That's
Yeah.
what I'm expecting.
Yeah.
But before I guess we ended or whatever. I also I did see I don't know how reliable it is, but it was like there was a guy that was like he tried real hard to be an extra in Spider-Man, and didn't get it, but a friend of his did, and was like a member of the jury in Spider-Man, the new one, and that the lawyer is in fact Matt Murdock.
Oh, bring
Is
him
it the
in.
same actor?
Yeah,
Charlie Cox? Yeah.
yeah, it's
Oh,
Charlie
wow.
Cox, but they couldn't confirm that, like obviously just from what they saw, like he was just him as a lawyer, not as Daredevil.
I mean, even if they just introduce him, he can be Daredevil
Yeah.
down the line.
So
With that.
Gosh, bring them all in. I want the Punisher
Yeah.
back. I want them
well,
all.
Punisher's confirmed.
Is he?
He's signed as to play the Punisher for
Joe,
MCU.
whatever his last name is, something to
Yeah.
be.
No, he is
Bernthal?
the only one that is legit confirmed.
Oh, he was my favorite part of the Netflix series or franchise or whatever.
I mean,
God, I
the
love
first
think-
series of Jessica Jones
I
is
think
really good.
Daredevil was my favorite, but Punisher was close second.
Remember the first series, the first season of Jessica Jones is pretty good. Second one, not so much.
Yeah, I didn't like the second one.
Well, cool.
And I didn't bring it up, and I just remember right now, but I actually started a D&D campaign. Like I'm in one. I'm not a DM. I'm just a player.
Oh, nice.
Very good.
Yeah. So,
We'll have to do an update.
yeah, I
next
had
episode.
my first session last week, but the podcast has already been going on for too long, so this would just be a teaser for next week.
Okay. Yeah.
On my D&D experiences, because oh boy, it was a wild first one. So,
Guess what's up?
anywho, yep, that's it for us. Thanks for listening. I would do the whole spiel at the end, but most of it doesn't even matter anymore right now.
Yeah.
So all I'm going to say is thanks for listening. Thanks for coming back after 3 weeks of us not putting content out, and hopefully we'll kind of get back into our regular flow now that things have sort of calmed down a little bit in our personal lives.
Things are settling.
Yes, our settling. That'd be a good word. Settling down in our personal lives. So yeah, thanks for listening, and come on back next week because even on the best of days, we all need some kind of entertainment. See ya.
See you guys.